Hello friends, my name is Doug. Welcome to Third Stall Garage. This is a channel about restoration of cars and car shop projects, miscellaneous machinery, stuff that I find fun and interesting. I like seeing how things work. Today, this is part 2 of a series on a really old, probably a 50-year-old parts washer, pressure washer. Let me flip the camera around and show you. Here's the parts washer. In the previous episode, if you haven't watched that yet, I encourage you to go back. We went over the controls, the motor, the electronics on it, the transformer. The last part is the pump. It is a twin piston pump on the bench here. And today we're gonna figure out, or in this episode, we're gonna figure out how this thing works and is it working. So thanks for following along. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so what do we know about the pump? It is a twin piston pump driven by a pulley. It does turn over freely when you turn by the pulley. There's a snap ring on this side and looks to be a seal and probably a bearing on there, in there. On this side, we have the output, which is the high pressure inlet on this side. It is a Hypro twin pump. This cap, or almost looks like a valve cover, is gray. The rest of the pump is green, which makes me think that maybe this has been replaced or repaired. This says model 53027. 53027. This side is painted over, but I do not see stamping underneath that. So I will try to carefully scrape that off and see if I can figure if there's any other part numbers. There's also model GE with 10 printed on it. This one's GB with a 6 on it. Don't know what that means. The back side of this is the safety cover. Do not operate pump without this cover in place. Remove for greasing only. If you remove that, there is a ton of grease in there, much of which looks, like it's still kind of clear and fairly new looking. When you turn the shaft, this thing goes back and forth this way, pushing a piston, a dual piston, this way and this way. So it kind of goes back and forth that way. And it pumps on alternating sides. So it's a twin pump that way. My guess at this point is we're going to need to take these head bolts off and this, clean out all of that grease, then remove that snap ring and see if we can get all of this apart to check the O-rings and gaskets, and I'm assuming there's one-way valves in there, and we'll see if it's in good shape or if it needs to be replaced. These are loose because they needed to be to get it off of the mounting, so I'm going to start here with this end of it, and we'll just keep learning as we take it apart and see what's underneath there. All of it is cast iron. Okay, not in horrible shape. Not in fantastic shape. So here's how I think this works. I think there's a one-way valve in here. So water flows in, gets into this little cavity here, and in this cavity, it's just like a piston cylinder in an engine. And then this piston comes up, compresses the water, and it can't go back this way which forces it to go out through this way. And I think there is a one-way valve in here as well. Yep, that is springy as well. So the water goes out that way, pressure builds up out here, but it can't come back. And so these two are just spring loaded, opening and closing, while this piston goes up and down. Now, I'm happy to see that, you know, things don't look in horrible shape. I'm a little disappointed to see that things are a little as dirty and almost rusty as they are, although it makes sense, I guess, if it's a water pump. You know, one of my dilemmas with this is it's not like I am fixing a $2,000 machine. How much money do I want to spend on fixing this, not even really knowing how well it worked new? I'm guessing it's probably like a 500 PSI pump, and you know, newer pressure washers are much higher than that. So I'm gonna have to do some research and see how much a rebuild kit for this is. That would include kind of the O-rings. Now this O-ring is quite flat, and I'm guessing hard, and maybe brittle. So we'll have to see what kind of shape that is. But you know, the surface can be stoned and flattened. Overall, don't see any catastrophic damage, so that's good. But we'll have to keep going. So I'm gonna flip it over now, and we will take off the head on the other side. All right, what will we find? We find that it's stuck a little bit. Looks pretty similar condition, a little dirty and grimy. I don't know how good that O-ring is yet, but we're a little closer. There's a hex screw on the end of that, but I think, frankly, we got to bite the bullet and start digging out that grease. That's pretty gross. But cleanliness is important. Guessing watching me clean grease isn't that exciting, so I'm gonna do that off camera and listen to Christmas music because it's Christmas time. Have it cleaned out better. This is apparently a grease fitting. I'm guessing that's how you fill it. And I don't know if I'll need to take that off or not. I do know that the snap ring will need to come out on this side, so I'm gonna see how easily, oh, it's coming out. Oh, these things tend to fly everywhere. Let's see if I can get a little screwdriver behind that. Snap rings are not my favorite thing in the world. I have too many challenges getting them out, and or getting them most of the way out, and then something breaks or the tool goes flying across the room, or all right, this is embarrassing. I'm turning the camera off. Of course, I got the snap ring off camera. Not because I didn't want you to see it, but because it took me about 15 minutes. I don't have a very good snap ring pliers. So as soon as I would get it close and try to lift up, it would fall off and snap down. So finally I lifted it close and then So I squeezed the snap ring closed, then reached across with the screwdriver and pried up the back side, and then it came off non-violently, thankfully. So now I've got better view of this seal. Clean things up a little bit. It's always nice to be able to get a part number off it, which I can see. That way if I need to replace it, I know what to get. Seals usually aren't very expensive off Amazon or eBay or whatever. Hypro. I'll have to look more closely. I don't want to leave the brake cleaner on too long because I don't know if it's the rubber on the seal is safe for it or not, but it's nice to use it to get the paint off and grime. All right, next we're gonna start taking these pistons apart. Allen wrench on the end. Do not know how stuck they're gonna be. Here we go. Kind of a copper looking bolt, which of course is now stuck on the wrench. Come on, let go. All right, we'll set that off to the side. That's metal. Is it a washer? Oh, the pump went down. But that didn't go down. There, it pushed it up. Now the pump is retracted. So if I can reach in there somehow, I think I can pull this piston out. All right, how do I pull that out? Well, we know this one's got to come out, so let's do this one next. So I decided to start two separate bins. I labeled them 1 and 2 for sides 1 and 2 because I don't know for sure what is interchangeable and what isn't. I want to put things back together. This piston has come disconnected from like the connecting rod behind it. I'm trying to figure out how to get that off, and I'm wondering if I just put this screw in, put a little bit of a side load on it. Yep, the piston comes off. So this looks like a rubber cup that is in remarkably good shape. And moderately pliable. So that's not bad. There is what looks to be like a brass cup underneath there. Does that come out? I'm sure it does. And do these come out? I do not know. That one looks to have a little bit of a plastic crack in it. Right there. Although this just holds the ball back, so I don't think that's critical. I think we need to start taking this apart. I'm assuming that this grease fitting, every grease fitting I've ever known has threaded in. And it's turning the whole pump. I'm gonna put that in the vise so I can try that. Furnace is running, so I have the cup and the cup spreader and the bolt, and underneath there I think is a soft copper sealing washer under the bolt. Cup spreader, and then the seat for the cup is beneath that, and I think I can get that out with the bolt as well. Careful not to scratch the bore at all. We're almost there. All right, so bolt goes through the cup spreader, the cup, the valve, and then I think this back part is a seal right here. And then behind the seal is an O-ring. Right there. Can't see that with my gloves, sorry. All right, and then I think there's a graphite guide behind there that doesn't come out yet. Earlier I said grease zerks are all threaded in. That was obviously wrong. So I think we should be able to pull this out because this one is a press-in. I'm gonna put this in the vise instead. Come on, I don't want to break it. There it comes. There we go. Yep, she is just a little press in. All right, now I think through that hole, we should be able to drive the drive shaft out the other end. Probably need to do that in a press. All right, it's starting to come out. The seal is to the point where it's flush with this, so I need to make sure these bars that are holding it are just catching the edge. did not realize upstairs that my tripod was sagging. So we were pushing through here to press that bearing out, and this is very loose in here now. And I think it will come out. Maybe. All right, first let's, the other side, this is what we were pushing out. It's a rather large bearing on this pump shaft. So I'm gonna tap that the rest of the way out. And I really wish I had a third hand. Do not want that to fall. Okay, the whole thing is coming out. I just don't want to lose it. There's the cam that drives it. 2 bearings. They both spin pretty nice. I have to admit, I expected this thing to be junk, finding it in a mostly abandoned barn at a friend's place. All right, let's clean it up. Okay, the shaft is out. In here are I think these are graphite glides or guides. This one came out from this side, which was number 2. So in the stack, it kind of goes right there. There should be one on this side as well. So if we go to stack number 1, that one goes right there. Okay. All right, and let's summarize kind of where we are. Main bearings, these seem great. There's a little bit of, I don't know, looks like something ate up the rubber a little bit. That was not the brake cleaner that I used. It was that way before. But it seems like the seal is still working. The press and grease fitting goes in the end here. And then I think you pump grease through the middle of it and it comes out that hole. May come out, there's a hole on both sides. May come out other places as well, probably fills this whole thing with grease. So those are in decent shape. This little carriage guy seems in good shape. The bore on the inside of here is fine, but that's just press in, so that's not a wear surface. If we look inside, this looks to be like a brass sleeve that the piston goes in and out in, and It is not clean yet, but I don't see any huge gouges or grooves. So I think next I need to figure out how to evaluate these two one-way valves. The main part that I don't know if really is reusable is this large O-ring here that is a sealing surface. When I look, directly across that, it looks flat, like there's no squeeze left in the O-ring. Now, maybe there's ways to reuse that if I can't get it or can't get it affordably by shimming out slightly or something. But I also noticed when I was taking this apart here, this was all packed full of fairly clean grease yet. If these seals had been leaking, water would have come gushing through here and would have flushed out that grease, and I did not see evidence of that. I don't see evidence of this having leaked, but I can't say confidently for sure that I would have seen that. So it's time to move on to these one-way valves. The way these one-way valves work is the water comes in here, flows up through, and goes past this one-way valve. So that valve that you see, the shiny spot right in the center, right there, that lifts up, allows the water to flow around it, comes out these holes, and the water gets trapped in this chamber. So it is right in that cavity there that you can see in the valve cover. And because of this one-way valve, it cannot go back down. Well, this cylinder comes up, compresses the water can't go backwards, so it has to flow this way. Well, it hits this one-way valve, pushes it down, and allows it to flow past and go out, and is now pressurized for the pump. Now, the theory being this pressure is here, cannot come back because of this one-way valve. And if this is working correctly and this is working correctly, there should be minimal losses in the system. I do not have the tool to get these out. There's a special puller for each of those. This looks to be what I'm afraid is a fragile plastic. So I've been debating about whether I try to get these guys out to inspect them, whether I just run it the way that it is, or whether I try to clean them a little bit installed. So I'm trying to figure out how to test that. My thought is if I take my air compressor and gently blow air in there, should build up pressure in here and not leak out if that valve is working. I can also test the same one on the bottom as well. So I'm going to try that, see if or how much air leaks by, then maybe trying to clean them, a little carb cleaner, blow them out and see if it gets better or worse. And that might, I don't have a good way to test this one yet. So I'll see what I learned from that process. Okay, so I've got my air compressor pumped up. I'm not gonna go full bore on it, but just gently blow. Getting a little bit of air coming out, but not too much. And actually, after doing it a couple times, it got less. So I'm gonna try to clean this a little bit. Definitely a little air leaking out, but not a ton. I mean, it is, I don't know how tight of a seal it's supposed to be. If it's supposed to be just most of it back, or if it's supposed to be like airtight. Let's see what this one looks like. Wondered for a second if I blew hard enough if it would pop the valve out for me, but it did not do that. Well, it kind of seems like it might have started on the other side. Yeah, this valve is up a little bit. That would be kind of nice. Way to get that valve out. That worked. Now the question is, can I get the other one out? Yeah, I can see right through there. I should be able to tap the other one out the bottom. Feels like it's coming. Yep. Oh, shit. It came apart. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get that back together. We'll see. Wow, that's full of junk. Okay. Bummer pants. I don't know, maybe this will fit back. Maybe it just pressed together. Belly that needed cleaning though. So, all right, I'm gonna work on figuring out how to pull the rest of this valve out. So I spent a little while trying to figure out how to get this plastic piece out. And it dawned on me, I don't think I need to get that out. The way these valves work is this piece here is the valve seat, and this little domed piece is the valve, and it sits on there, and this little spring just holds it back like so, and then the pressure from below causes this valve seat to rise up like such, and then when the pressure from above is higher, the spring pushes it back down. I think I just dropped it on the floor. You know, ideally, you just buy a rebuild kit and put new valves in, but I'm trying to see if that's necessary. So I'm just gonna kind of clean and polish these and put it back together. So there's no real need for me to get this plastic holder spacer piece out. But I do want to clean the other sides, and I don't have, there's a three-prong tool that reaches down in there, turns, locks in, and then you can use that to pull it out. I don't have that. If I reach in with my needle nose pliers, I've got a bent one. it's loose enough that I can turn it fairly easily. So I think my next bet is going to be to just slowly work this thing back and forth while gently pulling up on it and see if I can get it to climb back out of that hole. I have not been able to get this one to turn yet, so I think I'll work on this one for a little while and see if I can make progress on it.
Make all the demons quiet, yeah, we were built to thrive, yeah.
Well, I did a not good thing. In trying to pick and pull this out, I cracked the plastic housing for the valve. After saying some choice words offline, I've been able, with a pick and a screwdriver and a little care, get the rest of this housing loose. I think I should be able to get it up and out. I'll have to price how expensive valve repair kits are. That's probably the right way to go. If they're not too expensive, I'll bite the bullet, spend money, which I hate doing. They are really expensive. I'll have to creatively problem solve for a little while and figure out if there's a way to make one or repair this one. So I just got to get the valve seat out, and then I have one more that I can break before I'm done here. Sometimes things don't go well. So this is the seat of the valve that I'm trying to get out. This is a fairly robust piece, so I'm not too worried about damaging it. So to try to get that out, I took a hex head bolt, ground the head down so that it just fits in between there, and that I can go sideways with it and pull on up. Maybe pull a little bit there and pull a little bit here and see if I can pull this valve seat out. Not sure what else to do. So I have one more to go. It is down there. See if I can get a light in the side a little bit. That is the valve right there. So I think I can just get a screwdriver down to the point where I can tap on the back of the valve race. Actually, it would be this side of the race. I can just tap on that. So I'm going to try to tap on this through there and see if I can get it to drop out the back. Sorry for the shaky camera work. Getting a little frustrated with it right now.
You can see the riding on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always they need
Unbelievable. That actually came out. Now, I put some dings in the face of this, driving it out, but the backing didn't split. And there's a chance this one might be savable. All right, time to do some cleaning. I'm gonna get this guy in my solvent parts washer and scrub it really well. Scrub these valves really well. Do a little bit of research on the availability of parts, and then I will get back to you. Okay, I'm back. Pump is all clean. You know, looking at all the surfaces, happy with the way things look. Now this sleeve does press out, but I do not see any need to press that out. It is smooth all the way around inside. Fingernail, I cannot feel any scratches or signs of wear in it. Scrub the outside. Now I found online, here are all the valves that came out of it, were soaking in solvent. A rebuild kit for 95 bucks. So found it on eBay from a seller there. It'll be here in 3 to 4 days. So I bit the bullet and we're putting some money into this. I hope it's worth it. But that means that I do not need this cage or spacer in here anymore. So that can come out. And then while I'm waiting for the valves to come, I can begin the reassembly of the pistons and the camshaft and pressing in the bearings and greasing it. So I'm gonna get started on that. All right, we are getting close to putting it back together. So the graphite spacer goes in there. Those are very, very fragile, so be careful with them. And then I just cleaned all of them in a gentle solvent, looked them all over. You know, you can buy rebuild kits for these as well. Although my O-rings and the cups are all fairly soft yet and decently snug fitting. So I'm gonna run it. I'm not gonna replace them. So that presses in there nicely. And then the cup goes in. Then the cup spreader. And then the bolt. And that pushes in pretty hard and tight into the bore. Okay, so that one is in. Next, this guy goes in the back. And it has to go in before the cam presses in from below. So I'm gonna get that in place, and then I'm gonna go upstairs and use my press to press that guy in again. All right, I think the most critical thing is to get it nice and straight and square. Kind of love pressing things in and hate it because it's really cool when it goes well, and it's really hard to know when it's not, and when it goes poorly, it seems to go very poorly. Stuff binds up or breaks or cracks or something. All right, does that look square to you? Can you still see? You're dropping, aren't you? Why does it do that? Hi. Huh. Might be a bad tripod. All right, here we go. It's going in. There we go. Second bearing's going in. All right, it's getting a lot harder. I'm gonna just quick pull it off and look at the other side a second. So far, so good. All right, bad news. The very last moment I was pressing this in, I don't know if you could hear it on the camera or not, but there was a slight crunch. And as this camshaft gets pressed through the bore, the camshaft comes out this side. Now, the camshaft is off center, or the cam lobe is off center. And so it's not going to come through directly centered. I had this carrier, so this yoke I had centered, and as the cam came through, the cam was off center, and the cam hit right there, which then pushed sideways on the piston sleeve, this guy, and cracked that. And there's a graphite guide in there that is very fragile. That's remnants of it. Broke that and broke off the bolt that holds the piston in. So that one shattered. This one you can see is bowed out right here and has a little crack in it. Right there, I think you can see the crack.